This is a further prelude to today's episode of Into Your Head podcast. Hello. Now, I know what you're thinking. If it's a further prelude, why is it here right at the beginning? Because I'm putting it in front of the other prelude. I already did a prelude, but you won't hear that until after you hear this further prelude, because it's not a further prelude if you put it after the existing prelude. No, that's an anti-prelude, if anything. No. If you have a prelude and you make a prelude, as I did a few minutes ago, and you decide, I want to put another prelude in with this, I have more to say, well, you have to prelude the existing prelude. That's like if you're bypassing a town, you're building a new highway around the town. You don't say, we'll bypass this town by making the highway go right through the town. We'll make it go right in the middle between the streets that are all blocked up. We'll make another street and we'll call that a bypass. You wouldn't not. You might do that and call it an inner relief road, but it's not a bypass because you're not bypassing the town. You're doing the exact opposite. No, it's the same with a prelude. So no, this is a further prelude. And if I make another one after this, I'll call it a further prelude, and you'll have heard it already if I did that. I don't know whether I did or not. Well, I haven't done it yet, so I don't know whether I will or not. But it remains to be seen. Except for you've already seen. It probably just didn't occur to you at the time. Assuming I didn't do a further prelude before this, it won't have occurred to you until this moment to check whether I did a further prelude. It's never even occurred to you until I mentioned it just now. So I suppose in a way, that's I'm probably overthinking this. Am I overthinking this? That's something I want to consider. No, I'm not. I've considered it, and no, I'm not overthinking it. I've given it very little thought, and I've decided I'm not overthinking this, so that's fine. Anyway, on with whatever follows. This is a prelude to today's episode of Into Your Head podcast. Hello. Today's episode of Into Your Head podcast. Hello. It's already mostly being made. I just wanted to add some more to it, and I don't think you should always have to add some more at the end. You can add some more at the beginning instead. There's no particular reason for a prelude other than I just wanted to put it in here. Now I know most of the things we do in life, like filling up a bath, you can't just decide, it's 3/4 of the way full now. I think we'll add the extra quarter at the bottom. We'll add the extra quarter of water at the bottom of the bath underneath the existing water. No, that just doesn't work like that. But luckily in podcasting it does. So it does work like that. I can go, I want to add an extra bit on to this episode, but I don't want to put it at the end. I want to put it at the beginning or somewhere in the middle. No, it works perfectly fine like this. Works perfectly fine. The only time when it wouldn't work fine is if it turned out I didn't have anything further to say. That would be a problem. And then that would be something you definitely should add at the end, because if I'm at the beginning, I haven't even started the show yet, and I'm saying I don't have anything further to say, that could be off-putting for some listeners, especially new ones who haven't heard this program before, which I'm hoping there are new ones, because we're back after a 7-year interlude with a new feed. I'm hoping there are new ones. There better be new listeners, because if it's not, then this is fucking ridiculous. The same 3 people who were listening 7 years ago, there used to be 7 of them, but I presume half of them are dead by now. I haven't analysed the listenership figures, by the way. I'm just assuming that's how it'll work. Anyway, on with the show. Into your head, into your head, into your head, into your head, into your head. You join me at a tremendously exciting moment. It's Into Your Head, number 796. We've a lot to get on with today. Items that need to be attended to, issues that need to be addressed, topics. Topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. We're positively booming to the seams with topics. We've got topics coming out of this harmonica. This harmonica here that's sitting in my frigging Oh, it's sitting in my cup holder. It's been sitting barely used at all for the past 7 years. Because I'm just back from hiatus. I think I used it 2 weeks ago. Did I? You can probably find out by listening to the episode before last. I don't know. I'm pretty sure I used it then. How often during your podcast series is it reasonable to use your harmonica as a crutch, bearing in mind that I've never learned how to play the harmonica and haven't got a note in my head? There's a question for you. If I was a trained, accomplished harmonica player, I'd feel justified in using this at the end of every single segment, perhaps even doing a whole podcast series about harmonica playing. Well, as it is, no, it'd be a bit much. That would be overkill. There's probably already people here who turn off the minute I pick up my harmonica and go... There's people who can't stand that. They think, fuck off with your stupid fucking harmonica. You clearly have never played a musical instrument in your life. Well, no, I may not be playing a musical instrument, but I'm playing you. I'm not sure how, but the fact that I'm enjoying saying this means I'm playing you somehow. Somehow I've come out of this feeling better than you have. So, if you're one of these amateur harmonica player haters, go and join some fucking thing on Reddit, some harmonica hatred group. Like you know you want to. You want to feel part of a community. You want to feel wanted. You don't really hate amateur harmonica players who haven't got a note in their head. You just want to feel part of a group of people of like-mindedness. So you pretend you do, so you can get into a group. It's the modern day equivalent of joining in Witch Hunt, because you want to be part of the team. Everybody else has turned against witches, so you have to turn against witches too. You have to say, no, I'm going to join with the majority of this community who are against witches. In fact, I'm going to order my wife, who happens to be a witch, to leave. I'm going to tell her, get out of here. You don't really tell her that, but you say that to your friends in the witch hunting community. You say, oh yes, I'm going to alienate myself from the rest of my family who are all witches. I'm not going to stand for that crap anymore. I'm going to make them eat a separate table, and then I'll probably even time my meals so I'm not there when they're eating. I'll go out at those times and I'll join the posse and go around hunting for witches and trying to find them. Now it's probably rather dishonest of me not to start my entrance to this community by saying there were witches in my house. Maybe we should start there and kill them. But no, I don't really want to kill witches. I just want to belong. Is that unreasonable? I don't think it's unreasonable. Maybe at some point in the future, centuries from now, people will think it's unreasonable. Maybe they think it's unreasonable now, but they don't want to say so because they're going with the majority. So no, for the moment here in whatever the year is, 1452 or something, I'm an anti-witcher. So let's go off and hunt witches, and then we'll go off and hunt down a buffalo and eat that. And then when we run out of buffalo, we'll go and hunt another. Wait a minute. What the fuck is this shit? What is this shit I'm talking about? It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. Some shite about hunting witches and why would they hunt a witch down and then hunt the buffalo? No, you have to look after has you ever heard of the pyramid, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the famous pyramid that everyone learns in the first year in economics at school? So here's Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's basically a pyramid, and the stuff at the bottom is your basic stuff, the basic needs that everyone has to have first, like oxygen and food and somewhere to sleep and all that. And as you go further up the pyramid, you see stuff like luxury items and luxury and your hobbies, such as, for example, hunting witches down. But no, the hunting of buffalo would be right at the base of that pyramid in those days. It would be a primary need. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the very base of it is buffalo hunting, however the modern day equivalent of it is now. Right now, the hierarchy of needs is probably the Just Eat app. on your phone that you use to order food when you can't be arsed to cook, and you say you can't dial up your Just Eat from the takeaway and say, hello, can I have some uncooked lettuce and scallions and a raw burger that I can put on the frying pan when it gets here, and some uncooked bread to make buns out of. No, they'd laugh at you there. They'd say, why are you ringing up a fast food delivery outlet and asking for uncooked food? That defeats the purpose. If you want to cook food, just cook it. Get it in the shop and cook it. And I'll say, but the shop, my online grocery shop doesn't work like that, because I'm not in some city where you can dial it up and get it delivered 10 minutes later. No. You order it and it comes the next day at the earliest, and by the next day at the earliest I'll be dead from malnutrition, so that's no use. Although I suppose I could order some, what in the name of Christ does that mean? I've no idea. I'm not quite sure the energy drinks and coffee are working properly today. Now I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, a bad workman always blames his tools, invariably. And that's true. That's a well-known saying. A bad workman blames his tools. But you added in the word invariably. It doesn't say invariably in the original proverb. It just says a bad workman blames his tools. It doesn't say he does it all the time. It doesn't even say he does it frequently or even more than once. It just says a bad workman blames his tools. So if one bad workman in the 7 billion year history of planet Earth, or whatever, the 14 billion year history of the universe, if one workman during that whole period blames his tools just once, that proverb will be accurate. It says a bad workman blames his tools at one particular point in space at one particular time in history. But no, you don't go and just turn that into a thing just because it happens once. That's fucking ridiculous. If my cat comes in and vomits on top of another cat, I don't say a bad cat vomits on top of another cat. I do not. For one thing, that's not a bad cat. That's a very entertaining cat. Cats are here to entertain us. That's why we have them, and that's. If you're going to tell me that's not entertaining, it is entertaining. That's a good cat being a good entertaining little pet by vomiting on another cat. Now if you did that regularly, it would get a bit much. You get a bit repetitive. You get tired of it. That's like me starting every episode with you join me at a tremendously exciting moment. It's Into Your Head, number 596. We've a lot to get on with today. Items that need to be attended to. Issues that need to be addressed. Topics. Topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. We've got topics coming out of this cup holder that's holding my harmonica over here. It's not holding a cup. Still haven't started using that cup holder as a cup holder again yet. That's exactly what it's for. It's on my frigging portable podcasting setup trolley. It's supposed to hold a cup, but I'm not going to use it because I haven't glued it down yet. I'm not going to use it, put a fucking thing of liquid on my podcasting trolley until the cup holder is glued down. I'm going to glue it down with sticky pads so I can't knock it over and flood all my apparatus with coffee. No. The only apparatus that needs to be flooded with coffee is the apparatus from which these words are coming out of. Now, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, this is all I don't know. It's just very I don't know. I can't think of a word for it. That's why you're thinking. You're thinking, I can't think of a word for it. I can't even think of what the it is that I'm trying to think of a word for. So I have very few communication skills and very little opportunity to use them even as a listener to a podcast. It doesn't really matter what I'm thinking because I can't express it. Well, that's not true. You can email this program anytime at studio@IntoYourHead.ie. I'll be happy to listen to any queries you may have regarding the content. That's no problem at all. I'm very well aware that you, the listener, don't have much of a voice while you're listening to this. And the fact that I can pretend to read your mind doesn't really help. It helps me because it fills up some content. I can say, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking cats and vomitoriums and dogs. I wonder if he can put the three of them into a sentence. I make it sound good. Well, I believe I just did. There you go. QED, as they say. Quod Erat demonstrandum, meaning which was to be proved. That's what they used to say. Well, that's what my ancient maths teacher used to say anyway. He'd say, here's a theorem, write up the proof, and then once you've proved that, you put at the end QED. It's Latin. I'm beginning to think he was the only person in the world who did that, though. He led us to believe that was a big thing, the heavy fucking maths problem you solve. You put QED at the end of your proof, and that's a thing. No, the only place. At that time in my childhood, the only other place I'd heard the term QED was as the title of a BBC documentary series. I can't even remember what it was about. I think it was about a different topic every week. I think it was a topical documentary, investigative current affairs series of some sort. Was it? Was it even on the BBC? I don't know. It was on somewhere. It doesn't really matter where it was on. It doesn't matter at all. Doesn't matter at all. And then there was Panorama. That was another one. I remember the theme tune for that. Well, they do the theme tune for the BBC flagship current affairs long-running investigative documentary series Panorama. Nice as well. It goes some little something like this. I'm going to stop that there, because that's a particularly tiring song to perform on the harmonica. I had to do a lot of little tiny breaths in and do a staccato thing. It was very hard to manage my airflow correctly. I'm getting a newfound respect for real harmonica players, because they have to do that. I was watching a video the other day about some harmonica player who's tried out a new type of E-harmonica or something that has a switch on it, so you can switch it and it imitates 8 or 9 different other wind instruments, and he plays that in his little band when he can't afford a trombone player or something. Oh, he just does the trombone bit on his harmonica. It's absolutely fucking fantastic, and also fucking ridiculous. What next? That's like if you get a guitar and you have a setting on it that says, make this sound like the drums, and someone starts plucking the guitar and it comes out sounding like a drum beat. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Although I suppose in a way that's what a bass guitar is. I remember the bass guitar player out of Queen, John Deacon. He used to do a lot of that. By a lot of that, I mean play the bass guitar, which you couldn't really hear. A bass fucking guitar is a weird job. Playing a bass guitar in a band is a weird job, because nobody can fucking hear you. Nobody has any idea what you're doing there. You're plucking away at this thing. Everyone's just watching the real guitar player, because he's doing all the impressive stuff that you can hear. But you're doing this bass stuff that nobody can hear. They've no idea what sound you're making, but you're still expected to dance around like you're playing some great tune. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. No wonder John Deacon decided to retire after Freddie Mercury died and never let his face be seen ever again. He's probably embarrassed after accumulating a net worth of an estimated £90 million sterling, just for having a tune that no one can hear. Although in his defence, he did write several successful songs, so maybe that's what the money was for. But still, he probably feels a bit stupid after all that. Well, if you're listening to this, John Deacon, don't feel stupid. He wrote some of the finest songs ever known to man. You've achieved plenty, so don't be all embarrassed about that just because I say you should. Now, don't listen to him. I don't know anything about anything. I know absolutely nothing about nothing. On with the show.
Into your head.
2 cats walk into a vomitorium. One of the cats goes straight up to the all straight up to the barman in the bar in the vomitorium and says, "Hello, can I have a pint of whatever your finest, whatever makes you puke, please? Preferably not too unpleasant, just unpleasant enough to make me puke. Maybe something that just slightly tastes like it might be slightly a few hours past its used by date. Just enough to make me puke, but not enough to make me feel like shit." And the man behind the bar says, "Certainly, sir. Here you go. Here's a pint of Diet Coke, Coca-Cola Diet Coke, not Coke Zero, the one that tastes nice. This is the original Diet Coke, the one that tastes like crap. Have a sip on that and see. Here, have a taster. I'll give you a taster of this. It's like sampling a fine wine in a posh restaurant. Have a sample of this and see if you think it'll be enough to make you vomit." And the cat has a sip of the Diet Coke and he says, "Oh, that's great. That's perfect. It's just unpleasant enough to make my system want to automatically purge it, but not unpleasant enough for me to be conscious of feeling shit. That's fantastic. So it should be just enough for me to puke. Now all I need to do is eat something, because if I don't, there's no point being able to puke if I don't have anything to puke up. I can't just be puking up 500 milliliters of Diet Coke. No, that's not very satisfying. If you're just puking up beverages, that's no more satisfying than going for a piss. It's like going for a piss, but it's coming out through your mouth. I would argue that's even less pleasant than having a piss. If I just wanted to puke up liquid, or go and have a piss instead, and if I was bored of having a piss, I'd go and have a sit down piss." And the man behind the bar says, "Wait a minute, you're a female cat, don't you always do sit down pisses?" And the cat says, "I beg your pardon." And the man behind the bar says, "I said, you're a female cat. Hang on a minute, you're a female cat." And then I said, "Don't you always regularly have sit-down urination sessions? You don't usually stand up. So having a sit-down would be not the norm." And the cat says, "Why do you bring that up? That's a fucking weird thing to bring up." And the man behind the bar says, "It was in response to whatever you said there. I can't remember exactly what. There was something about, I think you were saying if you're going to just puke up some beverages like Diet Coke and no solids, you might as well just be having a piss. In fact, a piss would be... you were arguing that a piss would be more enjoyable than that, and you might as well just leave out the vomitorium trip altogether." And the cat says, "Oh, yes, I think I did say something like that, all right. But can we get on with it now?" And the man says, "Certainly. Now, this is a bar. The only solids we provide are things like peanuts and crisps and stuff that'll make you more thirsty. Although if you come in here in the afternoon, we have a full buffet, a full carvery lunch. It's absolutely fucking delicious." And the cat says, "Now, how will that help me? If it's absolutely fucking delicious, how's that going to help me?" And the man behind the bar says, "It's absolutely delicious, but it's also laced with food poison. It's got salmonella all over it." And the cat says, "That sounds a bit much. I know I want to puke, but I don't want to be fucking feeling like shit for 2 days after I puke. Oh, if that defeats the purpose of going to a vomitorium. I come here to relax. Have a couple of sips of Diet Coke and have something solid to puke up just for the fun. Perhaps something, maybe bread or something that'll line my stomach. Maybe I'll have that. If I have the bread to line my stomach first, and then I have take a small dose of salmonella injected straight into my stomach, probably won't hurt so much, because my stomach will be lined with... Wait, is bread one of the things you have to line your stomach when you're going on a heavy night drinking? I think it is. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I'm not a fucking 15-year-old anymore, so I don't go around eating things to line my stomach just so I can go around recreationally getting drunk. No, I don't have that in my life anymore. All I have is my monthly trip to the vomitorium." And the man behind the bar says, That's fine. Absolutely, there's no judgment here. You're perfectly entitled to do whatever you want. This is a vomitorium. You want to come here and vomit and line your stomach or whatever else you said you were going to do. That's perfectly fine." And the cat says, I'm well aware that it's perfectly fine. You're the staff here. I've been in here every month for 3 years, so I already know that you accept what I do as perfectly fine. You don't need to go keep telling me about it. I'm well aware of it. It's a bit weird, frankly, that he would say that. Makes me think that he are actually silently judging me and are just trying to restrain yourself from doing it out loud by saying things like, oh, it's perfectly fine. You probably think it's not perfectly fine at all. You probably think I'm a weirdo cunt and that I should be ashamed of myself, and that there's some kid in Africa who would love to line his stomach with bread and then have a few sips of Diet Coke to start off the vomiting and inject some salmonella into his stomach. You probably think I should be ashamed of myself for withholding that from some starving kid in the other side of the world. And the man behind the bar says, you seem to think that you know an awful lot about what's going on inside my brain. And the cat says, indeed I do. I've known you for 3 years now. And the barman says, you haven't known me at all. You come in here every couple of weeks and I serve you a drink. That doesn't mean you know me. It's not like we're having big long conversations. Well, except this one, of course. And just about every episode of Into Your Head podcast features one of our conversations. But no, apart from that, we have very few interactions. So you don't know me at all. You don't know me at all. In fact, when you converse with me, you only talk about yourself. So I know you. That's what the barman says. I know you. You're that fucking cat. And the cat says, a simple sir would suffice. Did that just say you're that fucking cat? I'm a customer here. Fuck you. And the man behind the bar says, you can't just say fuck you. I'm the bartender here. Fuck you. And the cat says, I think you'll find I can say fuck you. Let me try it now as a demonstration. Fuck you, Mr. Barman. And the man behind the bar says, well, you had the decency to add Mr. Barman man at the end there, so I know not to take offence. So that's absolutely fine. I'm not offended at all. And the cat says, well, what would I have to do to make you offended? And the barman says, you could inject my salmonella recipe into your stomach, line your stomach with bread, drink a couple of sips of Diet Coke, spend all night having a lovely time vomiting in my vomitorium, and then leave without leaving me a tip. That's what you could do to offend me. And the cat says, I can do that fine, no problem at all. I'll do that. I'll do it right now. Well, I'll start it right now. The whole process will take several hours from me coming in here and starting my order to ending the night on my last vomit of the night and walking out. At that point, that'll be when I don't tip you. So up until then, as far as you know, you'll be earning a tip from me. You'll be at your best. You'll be thinking, oh, I better be very nice to this fella. He's probably going to give me a nice big tip. I think he likes me. He comes in here every month and he says, oh, something. And the man behind the bar says, I never said that you go in here every month and go, oh, something. And the cat says, I know you didn't. This is all inside my mind, not yours. Will you relax there? You're not even real. Vomitoriums aren't even real. They're just a thing that some child read about, some 12-year-old child read about her once in a history book about ancient Rome, or on some fucking exaggerated history program on the Hitler channel, and went, oh, vomitoriums, I'm going to tell everyone all about vomitoriums now. They're not real. Vomitoriums never existed. There was never a thing. People don't go around going into vomitoriums vomiting. That's just not a thing. People made all that shit up. All made up. It's up. The nearest thing I know to a vomitorium is the Dublin City Centre, Jervis Street Shopping Centre that used to be a hospital. There's a Tesco supermarket in there that's based in the basement, and it's in a room that used to be a morgue. That's the nearest thing I know to a vomitorium. I don't know. Oh. Can you vomit in there? Well, you're probably not supposed to, but that's not what he asked. I asked, can you vomit in there? Can you vomit in a basement supermarket that's in a building that used to be a morgue? You can. You certainly can. Now, whether you'll be allowed to continue vomiting there is another thing. But they can't. There's nothing a security guard can do to stop you from vomiting once you've begun. The only thing you can do is keep watching you, and if you look like you're here for a good vomit, then he can eject you. And even then, will he be within his rights legally? Can you eject someone from a supermarket just for looking like he might be going to vomit for recreational purposes? I very much doubt that. I very much doubt that. Although, even if that's the case, if it's the case that you're not allowed to do that, the security guard might not be familiar with the law. He might think you are allowed to do that, in which case he'll do that. And then where will your knowledge of the law get you? It'll get you nowhere. That's where it'll get you. Your knowledge of the law will get you nowhere. So, if you want to become a fucking lawyer or a judge or something, having a pastime of going around vomiting in supermarkets is something you'll have to put on hold until you retire, or until you have a residency in some university as a legal professor. Then you can do whatever you want in your spare time. Once you have a residency, you're there for life. You can do whatever the hell you want. The students can't come up and have a protest saying, this professor here is going around condoning vomiting as a pastime. That's disgraceful. We want him out. Out, 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 out. As a students' union probably arrange a protest, but there's nothing they can do. If you've got residency here, you can suppose they can demand that you give up your residency. They'll say, we're not going to come into lectures from now on until that fella is gone. We're going to leave. And then what will you say to that? Oh, you'll say, I thought that fella on the podcast said that if I got a residency as a professor in a university, I could just live my life out and have my vomiting career as a pastime and never have to worry about my job being at risk. But it seems like he's saying now that it is a risk, because students don't put up with crap like that anymore in many of these universities. They'll say, we don't like that, he has to go, we're the bosses here. So I'm sorry if I've misled you into becoming a professor while also holding on to your vomitorium activities. I hadn't really thought it through yet, but in fairness, I only said that about 3 minutes ago, and you went off and became a professor on my advice without even listening to the rest of the segment. So you only listened to part of my advice. That's fucking ridiculous. You should have a bit of fucking patience. 2 vomitorium owners walk into a bar. One of the vomitorium owners goes straight up to the bar counter and says, hello, can I have a pint of your finest Guinness, please? And the man behind the bar goes, certainly, sir, but hold on a minute. Is this 2 vomitorium stories walk into the bar being used as some sort of an intermission in the middle of a 2 cats walk into a vomitorium story? You're not afraid that'll confuse everybody? And the vomitorium owner says, I don't give a fucking shit. Why would I care about that? Why would I care how someone uses my life as a cheap story in some fucking thing in the middle of some other thing? It doesn't bother me at all. Well, I don't know why you even bring it up. Why do you bring it up? Is it because we're from a vomitorium? You think bringing it up is relevant? Bringing it up or throwing it up or whatever you call it. You thought, oh, these 2 fellas now from the local vomitorium, and I'll just talk to them about bringing stuff up, because it's a bit like throwing stuff up, and it'll be like a little joke at their expense. Well, it's not a little joke at my expense, because I'm not paying you a tip. I'm just paying you the exact cost of the pint of Guinness. And furthermore, we're not from the local vomitorium. We're from 2 different vomitoriums. I'm from the local one, but my friend there, he's from a different vomitorium, because we're 2 vomitorium owners. The clues in the question, well, except it's not a question. The clues in the sentence sentence, two vomitorium owners walk into a bar. We're the owners of two separate vomitoriums. You just assumed that we're partners in a vomitorium business. In fact, we are. We are partners in a vomitorium business. We own vomitoriums all over the world, and we own two local vomitoriums, but we're not. The two of us are. Oh, what the fuck? Well, I suppose I was trying to say is you're partly right. We both own separate local vomitoriums, but they're run as separate businesses in which we each happen to be on the board of directors. They're two completely separate companies. They don't even have a parent company in common. It's just that both of us are on the board of directors of both of the vomitorium companies. But they're two entirely separate and independent vomitoriums. I know what you're thinking there. That's really doesn't show much of a business sense for a director. So you're involved in two different vomitoriums, both of you, and both of you are on the board of directors of these two different vomitoriums. But you haven't bothered trying to merge the business or try to connect them up in some way so you can reduce costs. That's fucking ridiculous, the barman says. And the vomitorium owner says, how do you know what's ridiculous or what's not ridiculous? How would you know that? Have you ever managed a vomitorium? Have you ever gone to college and done a night course in how to run a vomitorium? Have you ever even done a fucking degree in commerce? You probably haven't. Not that there's no disrespect to bar owners, but opening a bar owner doesn't make you an expert in vomitorium management. Just because people come into your bar and vomit, they don't enjoy that, by the way. They don't enjoy vomiting. In my business, people come in and they enjoy vomiting. They come in to do it for the fun. No, in your business, vomitorium is a distraction from their fun night out. They suddenly have the need to vomit, and they go and vomit, and that's the least enjoyable part of their evening. Although, if they're doing it right, they'll have that least enjoyable moment for about a minute, and then they'll go back to enjoying themselves. If they're good at it. But if they were really good at it, they wouldn't vomit at all. And if they really wanted to vomit, they'd go on a separate night out, a vomiting night out, and keep it separate from their alcohol drinking night out. So every second Thursday you'd go for a vomitorium night out, and then the other Thursdays you'd go for a night of drinking. You don't have to mix the two. Although you can if you want. I just don't think you should. It's not like wine tasting where you take a sip and you spit it out and that's enjoyable. No, that's not enjoyable. Well, it is enjoyable to some people. But this isn't a fucking episode of Frasier. This is a two vomitorium owners walk into a bar story. That's an intermission in a two cats walk into a vomitorium story. I think, if I remember right. I'm not sure now. Was that what the original thing we're interrupting was? This mightn't even be an intermission. We might stick it on at the end of the program after the whole vomitorium. Cats in a vomitorium story is done, or we might add it on at the end, but then add a new segment of the original cats walking into a vomitorium story, so it's no longer the middle. Has that occurred to you? And the barman says, none of this has occurred to me at all. Why would it occur to me? What the fucking hell do you think? I'm the fucking barman here, and you're two vomitorium owners, not very competent ones, as we've already established. And the other vomitorium owner gets up from his chair and comes over to the bar and joins them and says, excuse me, where are you getting that we're incompetent? You just assumed so because you heard that we haven't merged our two separate vomitorium businesses for the purpose of cutting costs. By having bigger numbers. No. We've intentionally kept our businesses separate so that they compete with each other. Now, you might ask, why would we do that? And I'd say that's a good question. So you'd go ahead and ask it then. And I'd say, I heard you the first time. And the answer to that is, Well, the answer to that is I don't know, but the other fella here, my friend, the other vomitorium owner, he thinks it's a good idea. And he's the fella who knows all about the business. I'm more the marketing person. I go around rounding up the customers and getting them to come to the vomitorium. I've no idea really how the finances work or the investment or how we run this as a business. That's why you have him on board of our vomitoriums. We specialise. It's perfectly natural. That's why you have different directors. You have one financial director and you have another who's good at marketing and sales and rounding up customers to come and have a good vomit in our establishments. And then you have probably someone else who does IT. There's an IT fella. Now, he's not usually one of the senior directors unless one of the directors has recently disappeared, gone to jail or something, and we need him. No, he heads up the IT department, but he's not really thought of as a real director. He's not a serious person, usually. In any business, you have that. You have several directors, but one of them is the IT fella, and no one really takes him seriously. They say, oh, yes, you just listen to the finance fella and the marketing fella, not the fella who runs with the computers, plays with computers all day and can't figure out a fucking printer. Ugh. And the man behind the bar says, gentlemen, what in the name of Christ are we doing here? What are we doing here? We've been sitting in a spare bedroom for 50 minutes now, talking crap about a fucking fictional vomitorium bar and another fictional vomit bar that vomitorium owners walk into in an interval, and some other crap about a supermarket. The supermarket is real. I should just point out, the supermarket I was talking about earlier is real. It is set in a basement of a shopping centre that was once the hospital, and the basement of that shopping centre used to be a morgue. So that was real. Just the part about going in and vomiting was fictional. But it was realistic fictional, because that's a city centre supermarket, and there's likely to be people going in there who are drunk, who've been drinking all day, and who are likely to go in there and possibly risk vomiting, because they're going in there for the cheap 3-litre bottles of cider. That's what they're going in for. But I suppose that's to be expected. Anyway, on with the show. And the man behind the bar says, what do you mean on with the show? And the vomitorium owner, who had till now been sitting down and has just come over to join the other vomitorium owner and the barman at the bar in their conversation, says, what did you just ask me? I can't remember, because it took so long to re-explain who I am. And the man behind the bar says, I don't know. I think I asked you something, but I can't remember what it was, because you took ages saying you took so long saying the man who was a vomitorium owner who had been sitting down until now had come over to join the other vomitorium and me at the bar counter, that you forgot what the fucking question you was going to answer was. I think, had I asked the question, the barman? I'm not sure. Can't remember. I'll find out when I go and listen to it, but I'm not going to do that, because that'll mean stopping this segment and then coming back to it. No, that'll just fucking stop my flow. That'll interrupt my flow, and then that'll just be stuck in here for another hour trying to finish the podcast. So no, we're not going to do that. Let's just suppose the barman asked something. We can't remember what, although you probably can if you're listening, because you've been able to concentrate on that. So let's suppose I'll tell you what we'll do. I know a way out of this now. The second vomitorium owner comes over to the bar and says, I'm sorry, I couldn't help noticing you asked a question, but I came out holding gibberish. I couldn't understand the thing you says. And the barman says, oh, well, everyone else understood it. Are you sure you don't just have something wrong with your brain from all the vomiting? And the vomitorium owner says, I don't do any vomiting. Do you go up to fucking someone who runs a McDonald's and say, are you going fucking mad cow from eating all those burgers? You eat burgers morning, day and night. You do not, because you know full well, just because someone manages a fast food restaurant doesn't mean they're eating fast food all day. They have a bit of they probably eat far less fast food than the rest of us, because they're sick to death of looking at it. They want want to vomit at the very sight of it, and I know how they feel. I once worked in a private library belonging to a government department, and I used to come in and it smelled of dust and filth and muck, because there was fucking 100-year-old legal text in there that no one touched. So you'd come in, you'd smell the dust, and you'd smell the fucking disgusting sandwiches that someone got for lunch and was even lying around. It was a fucking disgusting smell. So if I went into that library, I could well imagine wanting to vomit. And that proves my point. Anyway, on with the show. Now, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking this episode is being very vomitorium bar centric. And you'd be largely right about this if you just count the current episodes, but there have been almost 800 episodes of this podcast, and the vast majority don't mention vomitoriums at all, and only a large majority mention bars, usually in the context of two cats walking into one. So no, don't be fucking judging me by my I'm on a vomitorium thing for today. Get over it. If you don't like it, well, so what? It's a themed episode. It's perfectly reasonable. You come up with a theme and you do a whole episode revolving around that theme. I don't think that's unreasonable at all. If you think that's unreasonable, then you probably have a problem with my harmonica playing as well. So if I were to come in here and just do this, you'd go, oh, for fuck's sake, he's doing the harmonica thing again. I wish he'd just stick to the vomitorium stuff. And if you say that, I say, certainly, back to the vomitorium stuff we go. Two vomitorium owners who've been barred from directorship of any vomitoriums for the next 5 years, and they're no longer technically vomitorium owners, although their family still has control of the vomitorium. They've just had to, they handed over the directorship to their wives or something, so they can still indirectly own the vomitoriums and circumnavigate the court order. It's probably technically illegal. You could probably, if anyone could be arsed to do it, they could probably go back to the court and tell them that vomitorium director owner is not sticking to the terms of his 5-year ban from directorship of a vomitorium company. He's effectively got someone else in as his representative who's under his control. He's got a family member who's under his control, and he's basically still effectively the controller of the company through them. And the judge will say, excuse me, do you mind? I'm in the middle of a fucking traffic case here. I'm trying to get this fella who was doing 61 miles per hour in a 52 mile per hour zone convicted. And you just come barging in here like nothing else matters, and you just come in here and start going on about that. No, wait until your case is called. Have you even got a case booked? Did you ring up I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't ring up the court and say, hello, I'd like to book a trial for this afternoon, 10 minutes past 2. I'd like you to break out in the middle of the traffic court cases and take my trial, if you don't mind. I'm in a hurry, so it'll be like in one of those fucking medical shows. You always see these medical shows where there's some surgeon who has to do the surgery. So he comes in, he waits until everyone else has the fella cut open on the operating table, and he comes in and does his bit, and then he's so busy he says, yeah, someone else can sew him up now. I have to go on and do my other surgery things, and then he runs off. That's what that fella is like, going into the court saying, can you handle my thing here now, and then when you're finished I'll just run off and get on with my life. Well, no, you're not that important and you're not that busy, so don't give me that crap. Now get out of my court. I'll have you barred from acting as a lawyer in vomitorium director suspension cases for 5 years, and then that'll be I'll tell you what, that'll make the whole thing even more confusing. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. Get out of my court. Get out, 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 get out. Has someone tell me, has he left yet? I don't want to look, because I don't want to give him any more attention. Because you shouldn't be allowed to get the attention of the court just by barging in. So I don't want him to know that you don't get that reward. So someone else just watch him and tell me when he's left. I don't want to watch him. I don't want him. Or maybe I suppose I could put my hands over my face and peek out through a tiny slot between my fingers and watch to see if he's left. But he can probably hear me saying this, so he knows I'm doing that. So he'll get the satisfaction. He'll go out thinking, oh, that judge doesn't want to interrupt his traffic cases for me, and he's trying to pretend that I didn't get his attention. But he's obviously watching me through the gap in his fingers he's holding over his face. So he's noticing everything I do. So I did get his attention, even if he won't rule on my case yet. No, the judge says, I don't want to do that. But I'm going to do it anyway. I'll do the hand thing now. And I probably shouldn't commentate. And you know what? That's what I should have done. I should cover my hand with my face and look out between my fingers, but not say why I'm doing that. And then he wouldn't get the satisfaction of knowing whether I've still noticed him or not. But I suppose it's a bit late to do anything about that now. Anyway, will the next traffic case please come up? And then someone in one of the defendant's solicitors or something will say, Your Honour, if it pleases you, we hadn't finished the current case yet. You were on the speeding fine thing. And the judge says, oh, okay, suppose we'll get on with that. So, what speed were you going at, sir? And the sir will say, I was going 56 miles an hour, Your Honour. And then the man in the wig will ask the other party, what speed was he going, sir? And he'll say, he was going 53 miles an hour as the crow flies, but he was flying through the air, basically, because it was a mountain road, and he was going so fast, he was jumping over the dips in the road, flying. So we're going a lot more directing if you just stick to the tarmac, because there's all these dips and rises in the road. So every time he gets to the top of a rise in the road, he's going so fast, he leaps over like a stunt car leaping over a load of other cars, except it's just over a little dip in the road. It's very bad for your tyres. Probably wrecks your suspension as well. So I suppose in a way, the damage he's doing to his car in the long road run is punishment enough for his breaking of the speed limit. And the judge says, excuse me, the judge will say. He hasn't been convicted of any offence at the moment, so you have no business talking about punishment yet until such time as you've proved him guilty and I've accepted you as proving him guilty. Then we can talk about punishment. But until then, no, there'll be no talk about punishment in this court. There'll be none of that crap. We do things properly here. This isn't some sort of fucking TV procedural drama. Well, except for that surgeon who just came in. He's in a TV procedural drama, but it's a hospital drama. And that's the worst thing. If you're in a fictional court, the worst type of fictional court to be in is one that's in a medical drama, like House or something. So it's not even a legal drama. You just appear in one or two episodes where Dr. House has to come and defend himself in court for something he did that was allegedly terrible. But you're just some fictional judge, and you don't even get the satisfaction of knowing you're in a legal drama, or that the story is about the law, because it's not about the law at all. It's about having this fucking long-running medical drama where some surgeon has got away with so much crap that it would be ridiculous not to have to explain it in front of a judge at some point, because otherwise it'll be ridiculous. But it always gets cleared, so you can go on and do another 3 or 4 seasons of whatever fucking medical crap he does, and we can all enjoy it, saving the knowledge that it's relatively realistic, because he does have to answer before the law at some point and get his comeuppance. Anyway, on with the end of the show, or the middle of the show, or wherever this is. Is this the final segment? I don't know yet. I don't know yet. It depends on how it works out. So I'll just add in, anyway, good morning, just in case it is the end of the show. And if it's not the end of the show, I can cut that out. I can say, I get my fucking editing tool and go, that bit where I says, anyway, good morning needs to be removed, because it's not the end of the show. Although there's nothing wrong with saying good morning earlier on in an episode, I suppose. If I say anyway good morning, that really sounds like it's the end of the show, so I better just use it there. This episode is confusing enough as it is. Anyway, good morning.